November 7th, 2017. Today is Election Day, a very exciting day for the city of St. Petersburg. It's a national election day, but it's a big, big day for our city. This is Mayor Rick Kriseman. Mr. Mayor, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for being up with us today. Normally, I would say thank you. I don't think I have to today because the polls open up at 7 o'clock, and I'm sure you'd have been up anyway.
Oh, yes.
So how's the nerve level today? This election, very, very close. We might not know until well after the polls close today. So did you get any sleep last night, and how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, you know, I knew I was going to be up early, so tried to get to sleep as early as I can, as best as I can.
Right, right.
But you know, I've been through this before, and you know, you do everything you can, you prepare as well as you can, and then it's up to the voters of the city and for them to decide what, you know, which direction they want to see the city go.
There are a lot of issues going on in this, a lot of issues happening in this election, but one is the Tampa Bay Rays. We had that announcement about 2 weeks ago that the Rays could possibly be moving to Ybor City. You know, that kind of looked like the October surprise to me because it's 2 weeks prior to your election. How did your campaign handle that? You
know, we knew at some point in time Hillsborough, Tampa was going to come up with one location. You know, the timing was interesting, but you know, I've always felt very comfortable that St. Pete had a strong case to make for why the team should stay here. I still believe that.
Right.
I still think we can offer and meet all of the criteria that the Rays are looking for, and I'm still very optimistic.
Can St. Pete, a growing city, the 5th largest in all of Florida, can it handle 2 major league teams?
It can.
Yeah.
It absolutely can. And when you consider what would be built around that stadium, the office and hotel and residential and commercial, you know, it would completely change what the Rays have today.
Yeah, absolutely, and the Rowdies as well.
We
had a Facebook Live last night on 10 News. Literally thousands of people watched this. We had a lot of questions. One question came from Christine. She's a St. Pete resident and a registered voter, and she said, can you have each candidate restate their solutions for handling the sewage situation?
Yeah, oh, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
So we've already embarked on a $304 million upgrade to our system. It's going to take place over 5 years. More than 40 million gallons of capacity has already been added at Southwest. We have a second injection well that's getting ready to come online, a third one under construction. We've got an injection well under construction in Northwest, and we're going to be doing upgrades at Northeast. That'll increase our capacity to store and to treat sewage. And we're repairing our pipes, which have a lot of infiltration and inflow into them, our manhole covers, our laterals. Assuming Penny, which I really hope passes, a $90 million of Penny will be going into our sewer system. So we're prepared to make serious investments, and we're prepared to do, for the first time in the city's history, a sewer and a stormwater master plan together.
Mr. Mayor, you know, whoever is elected today, whether you're re-elected or whether candidate Baker is elected, the former mayor, they're going to have to handle a lot of different issues. One, of course, is the pier, which has already broken ground. I saw you out there that day during the groundbreaking ceremony. That's an issue that was somewhat controversial. Where do you stand on the pier construction? I know you're in support of it, and you're in support of a growing St. Petersburg, but is that something that you're happy that is happening?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we heard loud and clear from all the meetings we had with the public that they wanted to see a pier. We're very excited about this pier. I think the public, when it's finished, is going to be thrilled. It's going to be a place where not just tourists, but residents are going to want to go.
Yeah.
So you've got the pier going on and our construction on the first phase of the Waterfront Master Plan, which is in the Pier District. That's happening at the same time. They're both in budget, despite what my opponent says.
Okay, so it is Election Day. Polls open up in a little more than an hour. 7% of voters in St. Petersburg remain undecided. Does that make you nervous?
You know, I've always felt like I'm going to try and do the thing that I think is right for the city, that's best for the city, to move the city forward. And if the voters agree with me, they'll support me. If they don't, then they won't. And that's our process. It's what makes this country so great.
You know, as a journalist, sometimes you're always trying to ask the most challenging question, but here's an easy question. One message to viewers: why do you want to be mayor? Why do you want to be reelected?
You know, I love this city, and I love what's happening in the city. I look all around and I see progress happening. I see neighborhoods improving, quality of life improving. We're attacking poverty. We're bringing in jobs. People are moving here in numbers from all over the country. Every day I feel like I run into somebody new who's moved to this community, and I say, why'd you move here? And they say, man, you guys have it going on. You've got great arts and culture. You're a welcoming, diverse city. You know, and it's a rare occasion where when you travel around, you see not tourists wearing the name of their city on their shirt, but the people who live here, because people love the city. You know, I love this city too, and I just want to continue to do everything I can to make it better.
We should know a lot more in 13 hours. Mayor Kriseman,
Absolutely.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Polls open up at 7 o'clock this morning. Next hour here on 10 News, I will be with former Mayor Rick Baker in St. Petersburg, so we'll be speaking with him as well. Mayor Kriseman, thank you again. November 7th, 2017, it is Election Day. We are live in St. Pete right now with candidate Rick Baker. Mr. Baker, you asked me to call you Rick. It's nice to see you. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. You know, we're in Midtown right now. You can feel the enthusiasm we have in this part of the community, and really all over the city. The message of we need to stop some of the backward movement that we've done the last 4 years under Rick Kriseman, and with the sewer system, the pier, Midtown going back, the schools going backwards. We need to get going back forward again like we started 15 years ago, and we're going to do that.
Well, let me ask you about that. About 2 weeks ago, there was some news that the Tampa Bay Rays could be moving to Ybor City. Now, I say could be, but under your leadership, would the Rays remain in St. Petersburg?
Yeah, under my leadership, we would not have let them out of the contract to go look at other cities. They had a contract to 2027. Rick Kriseman let them out of that contract really for no good reason. And now the fact that they're now looking pretty seriously at being somewhere else is the result of that.
Is St. Pete a city that can have two professional franchises, maybe with the Rowdies and the Rays?
Well, we've talked for years. This is a region, right? So the region is really who supports the franchises, and absolutely our region can support all the teams that we have.
Okay, so we had a Facebook Live last night on 10 News. Thousands of people watched this Facebook Live, and one voter in St. Peter, named Christine, she wanted to know if each candidate, and I asked Mayor Kriseman this last hour, if you could restate your position on the sewage situation that we've had in St. Petersburg for the last several years.
I'm very happy to do that. When I was mayor, I spent $170 million improving the capital infrastructure of the sewer system. By my 6th year of office, we were named the best maintained sewer system in the state of Florida. When Rick Kriseman closed Albert Wooded Plant in April of 2015, it was the biggest mistake this city's made in 50 years. 4 months later, he dumped 31 million gallons of sewage in the bay. He refused to reopen it. Even then, Fish and Wildlife said this was a horrific mistake, and then he dumped 200 million gallons of sewage. We need to get that plant open, and we need to start maintaining our sewer system. The Fish and Wildlife called it criminal to be dumping hundreds of millions of sewage into our bay. We need our bays to be clean.
Rick, whoever's elected today is going to have to deal with the pier. They've already broken ground. A lot of people are in favor, but a lot of people are not. You stand in the ground that you're not in favor of that pier.
Well, we have to go forward with the pier. Let me make that clear. I'm not in favor of the design that they chose. It was the people voted for a different design, to keep the existing pier and to renovate it. And after they voted for that, he tore it down. So I'm in favor of trying to, I want to keep going. We're going to build the pier. I want to fix what we've got. But I also, on the land side, I do not want to build 2 concrete buildings in our waterfront park. That's what Rick Kriseman is doing, building 2 concrete buildings in our park. I want to clear that out for grass. I want to have an open park, and I want to build the biggest playground in the state of Florida at Spa Beach so that everybody from the city can come and use it, pavilions, picnic places, water features, everything for the entire community, not just a few people that can afford an expensive restaurant.
Okay, it is Election Day, corner MLK and 22nd Ave. This would be, I think you could consider this Baker country. 7% of voters in a recent poll remain undecided. You've got an opportunity right now, about 15 minutes before those polls open, to reach those voters. What message does Rick Baker want to convey?
My message is that from the very beginning of my campaign, I have talked about how we move St. Petersburg forward, how we make our schools better, make our cities safer, how we make sure we have jobs and job training, apprenticeship programs for the people in our community. Keep our city moving forward. The entire message of Rick Kriseman's campaign has been about the national politics, and I think that's a mistake. We have enough poison in our national politics right now. To try to import it into our city is a mistake. I will move St. Petersburg forward. I will be focused on what's best for the people of St. Petersburg every day I get up.
You know, it's amazing. We had a primary in August that separated you guys by 69 votes out of almost 170,000 registered voters in St. Pete. A recent poll had you just behind Mayor Kriseman, but I'll tell you what, there's a 3% room for error in each one of these polls. So what do you expect to happen today?
We're going to win today. We've got a lot of momentum going our way, but we'll only win if everybody out there votes, because last time thousands and thousands of people stayed home. So this is Election Day. If you want our city to move forward, you got to get out and vote today.
All right. Well, Mr. Baker, thank you so much for being out with us here this morning, bright and early. Good luck today.